Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Jelial. In this incarnation, I am here today to talk about the energies of this next week from October 13th until October 19th. This is a week where many things are happening in Libra, which leads us to put the focus in relational dynamics, in new ways that in which we want to create forms of balance. And also because Pluto is direct, and things are happening also in the sign of Scorpio. We have a very Scorpion season of Libra. It is important to understand that these new forms of balance are requiring us to deepening in the unconscious, to confronting our shadows. And this week, we also start our way to the next new moon in Libra, which I am going to talk about in another video. So let's go in order. October 13th, Venus enters Libra and perfects the cosmic guide, this configuration that participated of the eclipse in Virgo, of the equinox. This is something that we have been experimenting in the last months, and perfects also the opposition with Neptune retrograde in Aries. So Venus enters in this air cardinal sign. Its domicile of regency. So Venus incarnates here in all its splendor, the desire of relating in a form that could represent equality. I don't know if I'm inventing this word. And creating dynamics that could represent reciprocity also in projects of life, creative projects, collaborations, in the ways in which we are giving and receiving resources. There is a desire of balance, and as it is there, it is a balance that requires movement. It is an oscillatory dance. I don't know if I am pronouncing that correctly, because the pretension of balance as something static is an illusion. So this requires choices in the present moment of how we are going to invest our energy, which is the base resource that we all have in different situations. Now Venus, the last days has created this opposition with Saturn retrograde in Pisces that continues in mathematical degrees, even if Venus is not in Virgo anymore, and perfects the opposition with Neptune retrograde, which is in the degree 0 of Aries, a degree that is talking about a potential of manifestation in its initiatic phase, and in which in 2026 we are going to have the exact union between Saturn and Neptune. The whole year, the whole 2025, they have been in conjunction. In fact, they were very, very close. In August, they were less than 1 degree of distance. So Venus, in these days that, it has been creating this cosmic guide that continues to be on track until October 16th, 17th, because also is connecting with Pluto, that tomorrow is becoming direct in Aquarius, and with Uranus retrograde in Gemini. It is creating trines with them. Therefore, Venus is this point where the cosmic guide is established, and Saturn and Neptune is the apex, the focus. This indicates the choices that we can take during these days regarding the topics of Venus that I have just mentioned, relationships, resources, that are responding to this honest recognition of what is balanced right now for us. And that could represent, taking the power of facing our fears, of being authentic in life and in our relationships, that is Pluto and Aquarius, encouraging ourselves to put in practice new ideas, or observing reality with an objectivity that can allow us to comprehend reality from another point of view that can actually impulse growth, which is Uranus retrograde in Gemini, with commitment to the inner voice of the soul, Saturn and Neptune. That all of that is going to flow with much grace. Life is opening the doors so the cosmic kite can fly to new horizons, but without us controlling anything. I mean, the path is going to flow while we decide to oscillate with what we are experimenting internally and externally. So it is a key at the time to make these decisions, and this is reinforced by other transits that I'm going to talk at the end of the video. That we are going to feel the whole week too, with the opposition with Neptune retrograde in Aries, to follow that inner desire that leads us to move forward, but letting go of expectations that are far away from reality. I am not referring with this in every case. In some cases it will, and that those desires are not able to be accomplished, but perhaps are not going to be accomplished in the times or the forms that we are attaching to. For example, if I am starting my project today and I am pretending that in 1 week, becomes what I have in mind, that is not too real many times. It depends on what you have in mind. So it is also about letting go of self-deceit, illusions, that many times people could be attached to, because they are coming from imbalances of the ego, the identity, like sustaining themselves in relationships or spaces that they know that they are not going to find balance there nor growth, and expecting that they can change in a magical way. This is going to be different in a magical way. So this is very important because this month of October, Neptune is going to come back to Pisces together with Saturn that is already there. And disillusionment starts to be manifested, but because that is a product of having created fantasies in first place. So this opposition, it is about connecting with our dreams and walk forth towards them, but also identifying the things that we have to learn during that path, that we have to develop maturity of, or in, which is Saturn, and to learn so those things can actually take form in the matter. Therefore, that implies detachment of wanting immediate results and learn to enjoy Venus from, of the moment as it is. Tomorrow Pluto direct in the degree 1 with 22 seconds, which is 22 minutes, sorry. This is going to be active the whole week. The next week too, Pluto is going to be very, very active. I already talked about this. I'm not going to repeat myself. So we can make a summary saying that freedom is on the other side of the fears and control, because control also emerges from fear. Let's go to October 15th. Mars in Scorpio, this is going to be activated days before. Mars in Scorpio is perfected this trine with the North Node in Pisces and in a sextile with the South Node in Virgo, the karma nodes, the lunar nodes. And this is a very, very nice transit in the context of Pluto direct, Venus creating this cosmic kite, because Venus is the desire, the feminine polarity, and Mars is the masculine polarity of desire, the action, giving. So on the other side, Mercury, which is the planet of communication and understanding, is in conjunction with Mars, not exact yet, but in mathematical degrees they are going to walk together. And because they are, both of them, in harmonic aspects with karma nodes, which are the points that are, determining right now or pointing the evolutionary direction at this moment, for individuals and the collective, this tells us that there is this force that could be resilience, regeneration for the people that have been experimenting very challenging times, the last times, but also of understanding of what needs to be transformed and to die, to reconnect with life, because that life and death are not the contrary. They need themselves, they need to integrate themselves, so they are both enabled. So this also could be like enthusiasm for doing something new that really, causes passion to us for doing, or the renewal of that enthusiasm. And do it, very willing to embrace those things, putting our intensity for the people that we are very intense at the service of evolution. Therefore, these aspects are also good if we choose to do so, to transcend the patterns that can be an obstacle of the energy of Virgo, which is the South Node. Like, I am lacking of this is not perfect enough, the fear of criticism or the excessive criticism towards oneself. This is about focusing, with which things are you counting at this moment? What are you going to do with the things that you have right now? If you don't have material resources, you have your inner resources, your mind, Mercury, your capacity to take action to the things that you are feeling called to take action. So the aspect between Mercury and the karma nodes is perfected on October 17th, days after, but it is active still that day. Okay, this day, October 17th, is the day where the Sun in Libra perfects the square with Jupiter in Cancer. This is active the whole week too. and an opposition with Chiron retrograde in Aries. Let's remember that from the last week with the full moon in Aries, we have been experimenting a lot of transits with Chiron. And they are creating, the three of them, this T square, which is cardinal. It is a configuration in astrology that involves three of the cardinal signs, in this case Jupiter in Cancer as the focal point, Chiron retrograde in Aries, and the Sun in Libra. But also this ends up involving the fourth sign, which is Capricorn, because the tensions have to find this point of exile in a certain way. That is not the expression in English, but I don't find the right one right now. So we experimented this on September with Mars, and the last week with Mercury when they went through Libra. And right now it is the Sun. So the Sun, it is the one that puts light over certain circumstances so we can be aware of them. It is also the luminar that shows us the things in which we are creating identity. And this doesn't have to be negative as much as we are using those things as a form of creation and self-expression. But those areas in which we are creating identity could be something that are not contributing if they are operating as a barrier to grow. So the Sun in Libra, that right now is responding to a Venus in its domicile by that moment, in a square with Jupiter in Cancer, is proposing forms of expansion and growth that require for us to be aware of something in perhaps we have settled because it is known, but it is not allowing us to expand right now. And with Chiron could be linked with our fears, insecurities, and painful experiences of the past. So I'm going to give perspectives. Each one of us have to, assume which is the one that is applying. This could be linked with, in one side, with, realizing that there are behaviors that were sustained to be liked by others, but they are not cultivating this harmony inwards, with ourselves. Could be linked with stopping to see certain relationships, whether friendships, family members, romantic ones, or projects, with the filter of optimism in denial of reality, which is the shadow of Jupiter. Just because those spaces are known, but not necessarily they are nourishing us in emotional terms, or because there is this focus in a particular benefit that were unconscious before, but right now we can be aware, which could be external validation, and wanting to embrace something that is not working, not because we are not able to grow, but because we are the things that are moving that in our inner world, which is Cancer, are not evolutionary anymore. In other cases could be like the contrary. That's why I'm saying we have to be very, very honest to understand how this transit could apply to ourselves. For other people, this could be linked with collaborations, with creating agreements or projects that are challenging our insecurities, limited beliefs that we are not capable of doing certain things, and we have to learn to trust in what life is inviting right now us to do. In its shadow, these tensions could bring like many doubts, not deciding, over evaluating options. With Libra, generally we are talking about one path or another, but also this doubt as a mechanism to not decide, the doubt in which we can keep ourselves a long time. So it is very, very good to question ourselves. That means that we are able to to question the things that we believe or in which we are creating identity. But in some moment we need to do things right. We need to make a decision, and if things are not going as we expected, we are going to learn. And if things are going as we are expecting, we are going to learn too, because what flows and doesn't flow, it has a purpose. So it is about this transit to open ourselves to this new sense that is being illuminated right now, because what is happening in the way that it's happening is doing so we can expand. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.